Starting a business is easier than it has ever been, but I still see people fail to get going because they really overcomplicate things. In the last 12 months, roughly 40% of Americans and 30% of UK adults are running their own side hustle or starting their own business. If that is something you want to do, regardless of whether that is as a creator, as a founder, as a freelancer, as a consultant, you all need just one thing, and that is customers. This video is going to show you the exact 3-step formula to get you your first customers. It's going to show you how to start with actually the smallest amount of buyers, to find out where they are already hanging out, and then engineer value so fast that they simply can't ignore you. And this is a formula applicable to any type of business and can be used at any time in your journey for each product, launch, pivot, or even new idea that you have. I'm Gina. I'm a startup expert and Notion fanatic from South London. I've spent the last 20 years building startups, and now I help people reach their first 100K with operating systems, smart tools, and support. If that sounds like you, do subscribe, because I give away a ton of value on this channel that I wish I knew when I was just starting out. These 3 steps are going to get you your first customers. If you follow them properly, keep yourself accountable, and keep going. To help with all of that, I've actually built the only operating system that you need to get to that 100K. So grab that for yourself now. And if you're just starting out and you're yet to find your first customers, it's not because you've got a bad product, a bad brand, and no chance of ever making revenue. It's because you're not starting small enough, you're not building in your water cooler, and you're not focusing on your TTV. Now, step 1, I like to call niche down and identify your orbit. Now, niche down and identify the orbit is actually 3 steps within itself. And it is so successful, it genuinely works every single time. The reason why every startup or side hustle doesn't work every time is that people accidentally do this in reverse. They make a thing, they start talking about it, they start looking at where people are who might want it, and then they start to go into the specifics. What I'm going to want you to do is actually take your product, your service, your idea, and niche down aggressively to the smallest possible sample size of people that would buy that product or service. Do not think big, do not think total addressable market. Think the smallest niche ever. Even if it's only just 5 people. Think about it. Meta didn't start with billions of users. It started super specific. Not only was it universities, but it was specifically Harvard University, a really small sample size of the global population. Stripe didn't go to market. They literally went knocking door to door with developers, and very few developers at that. Niche down so much, it feels counterproductive. You want to get the smallest section of people possible that would be the people that would hang around a water cooler. So now you have that niche, you want to find out where their water cooler is. Niche down to this specific and then identify their orbit. Where do they spend the most time? Where do they talk? Where do they make decisions? Where are they actually hanging out? Is it Discord? Is it niche subreddits? Is it Facebook? Is it Slack? Is it private WhatsApp groups? Is it in a community center somewhere? Where is that super small, niche down community living? Where is their orbit? And now you've niched down, you've identified their orbit, you are going to insert yourself in that orbit. But you are not going to say anything. Don't fall into that trap. You are going to insert yourself around this water cooler in the orbit that you have found. You're not going to sell anything, you're not going to offer anything. To be honest, it's probably best just to keep quiet because you are there to observe. The 3rd step of this first step is to pay attention. You want to be learning absolutely everything. Pay attention to their language, their metaphors, how they describe their itch, their problem. When you're in this orbit, you want to be asking yourself 3 things. What are they complaining about weekly? What are they already paying for? And what are they trying that isn't quite working? This information is going to form the basis of your business. It's going to inform your messaging, your copy, your marketing, your ads, but it's also going to help you to understand more about the people who are going to be your customers. Because learning who this super small niche of people are is how you are going to get your first customers. And as soon as you have a couple of customers from this niche, the revenue compounds. So step 1, niche down and identify the orbit, is about taking who you think you address to the smallest version of that possible, identifying where they hang out online and inserting yourself in that space and having a listen. So this 3-step formula is incredibly useful. It puts you right in the pocket of your buyers. It puts you in real places in real time to understand what their buying signals are, where they're getting information, and what will speak to them directly. And the best way to keep on top of all of this is to keep it in one simple system. Part of the overriding operating system is this space, which is everything about your audience and your buyers. Being in that orbit and around that water cooler works because you have to be recording that information and taking those insights. Those conversations that your buyers are having need to be going into your copy, need to be going into your messaging. This step 1 can all be recorded in this entire operating system that then as you move through into your marketing, into your content, is reflected back to you. So you don't have to do the work twice. If you are going to take one decisive action to building your own business or starting your own side hustle today, let it be this. Identify that orbit, go into one of those communities today and write down the top 10 repeated complaints as exact quotes and use them as your next heading, subheading, email subject, social post copy, and see how much more traction that you already get. Okay, so step 2. Step 2 to get your first customers is to take that information and do some traction testing. About 12 years ago, I read the book Traction, and I'm actually rereading it now as part of 75 Hard, and it still stands today. Within this, they built out the bullseye framework. Where a lot of startups fail at getting their first customers is because they spend so much time building a product or building a service, and they neglect building traction. If you are starting something for yourself, you need to be splitting your time 50-50 between product and service and traction. Building a big, shiny, exciting app is meaningless if no one uses it. Creating incredible content is pointless if no one clicks. So step 2 is all about strategic testing, and there's 2 parts to this step. The second one is all about doing unscalable things, but the first one is all about bullseye. So the bullseye method is super easy. All you need to do is write down every single traction channel possible. I'm going to write 19 of them in the link of the description of this video, but you need to write down every single traction channel available at all. And then you're going to write 3 ideas for each channel. And what you're going to do is you're going to test the ones that sound the most likely to move the needle for your super niche first audience. If they have a good enough impact, you're going to keep them and double down. If not, you're going to try the next couple. You are going to try different ways of traction that you have never thought of, because layering assumption onto what was going to get you those customers is actually stopping you from getting your first customers. At this point, again, you can refer back to the Notion operating system where we have this space for A/B testing. So you want to be really thinking about those first few ideas. Once you have a little bit of traction in this bullseye framework, you want to be running what we call smoke tests. You've identified the top ones that are working for you, and what you're now going to do is make noise and look for signal back in as cheap and efficient way as possible to get results in days instead of months and months of testing. By doing the first step, we've already narrowed it down to a few channels out of those 19, and now we are going to fully stress test those traction channels to make sure that they're the right ones that are going to get our customers interested. Some easy smoke tests to do are landing pages with a wait list, testing your thumbnail and title on YouTube, a small amount of Facebook ads to see what the click-through rate is. And you're looking for shockingly good results. So don't waste time on things that are average or below average. Ignore those and focus on the things that are working, and send out more smoke tests to other ideas on your main traction channels. Now, the second part of strategic testing is a huge advantage for startups and small businesses, and that is you are going to do unscalable things. When you are starting out, to get your first customers and even to get your first 100K, you need to be doing things that you would never be able to do once you are successful. Scale comes later. As soon as you've got your first customers, you can have affiliate, you can have referral. It's so easy to build big revenue after you've got that first traction and first buyers. To get your first buyers, alongside your strategic testing, you are going to be as unscalable as you can possibly think of. When Airbnb started out, the founders went to each of the listings and took the photos themselves. When DoorDash was started, the founders were the first delivery drivers. You need to be unscalable in your first efforts. Physically invite people to an intimate dinner. Send handwritten notes to your first 5 buyers from your water cooler. Make a video for 3 people that you've identified in your subreddit. Do hugely unscalable things that will get you directly to those first buyers that you've identified. Okay, and now step 3 is hugely important, and it is all about TTV. And that is not total transactional value. That is time to value. The most important metric for any startup in the world. When you are just starting out, the only metric that matters is how quickly can you deliver value to your identified buyers. It's not about views, it's not about subscribers, it's not about any of the vanity metrics. You shouldn't even be focusing on revenue. The first thing that you should be obsessed with is how quickly can I deliver value. For example, if you are making content As soon as someone has clicked on your thumbnail or your title, deliver value. Tell them exactly why you're here. Every single thing that you are doing as a business, when you are building out these traction channels, when you are doing something unscalable, when you are thinking about every single post and outward thing you do, should always be measured by how quickly can I deliver value. And this all ties together. This 3-step plan is a fully repeatable, fully usable across any business plan that you constantly reuse every time you want to find new customers, launch a new product, or just get something off the ground. Before you waste all your time doing any of the fluff that surrounds business, you need to get customers. And those first customers won't care what your website looks like, won't care what your logo is, won't care what your branding is, and all of the vanity things that everyone gets caught up with. In order to get your first customers, you are going to niche down and identify their orbit, putting yourself directly in there. With this information, you are then going to do strategic testing. You're going to test your traction channels with your smoke tests, making noise, listening to that signal back that you're on the right track. And you're also going to do unscalable things, all from the information that you did in step 1. And then in step 3, you are going to ensure that you're reducing your time to value. Trust me, I've been doing this for 20 years, and it is the same formula no matter who you are. Small section of people, proper understanding, testing, and pure value. If you keep this 3-step plan going, I guarantee you will find your first customers and start building that revenue. Everything that we've talked about today is all actionable within the solo business blueprint that I have built for this exact reason, to help people start and build their own business for way less time, way less cost, way less risk, utilizing things that I know have worked for multiple brands. If you've made it this far, drop me an email and I will give you a big discount off this operating system. And if you want to build something for yourself, like and subscribe, because I teach you something new every single week.